Good evening, and welcome to Darkwoods Paranormal. Thank you. Thank you. She'll get
Welcome.
better, I promise.
I will get better.
My name is Gabriel Von Graves, and alongside me, Raven Knight. We are the voices behind the stories, the investigators of the unknown, and the ones willing to step into places most people leave in the dark. Here at Darkwoods Paranormal, we don't just chase ghosts. We document experiences. We uncover histories, and we give a voice to the unexplained. We explore haunted places, both famous and forgotten. We investigate cold spots and hotbeds of paranormal activity. We dive into conspiracies, folklore, and the unseen. Some stories are ours, some come from others. But each one opens a door, something else. We travel to locations known for their energy, and sometimes we bring that energy home. We film on site, we capture EVPs, we study the past, and we share those findings with you. But this isn't just about evidence. This is about experiences. It's about the feeling that someone's watching when no one else is there. The moments in the room shifts for no reason. The story you've told 100 times, but you still don't believe. If you've ever felt something you couldn't explain, if you ever had a dream that felt like a memory, if you ever walked into a room and you knew something was off, then you've already stepped into the dark woods. Tonight, our first live stream, and we're inviting you in. These lives, Thursdays and Sundays, will be part story, part investigation, part conversation. Sometimes we'll share personal experiences. Sometimes we'll explore haunted sites. Sometimes the stories come to us. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we're not afraid to ask the questions. So whether you're here to listen, to share, or just feel a little less alone in the dark, welcome.
Welcome to our first live. Well, our first live doing this, anyway. We've done lives before.
Oh, we most certainly have.
We have, from haunted locations. However, today we're going to tell a story. Or a
What
couple.
story is it?
I don't know. Well, why don't we do this? I'd like to introduce Gabriel Von Graves.
Well, Raven
Oh, there
Knight.
you go.
Oh, that was awful. You gotta get quicker on that.
Thank you. Well, I think today we tell everybody why we're here and why we've actually started to do this podcast and what the paranormal actually means to us. But I think that we do that by letting you take the reins, Sir Gabriel, and you can
Sir
tell everyone.
Gabriel. Okay.
Sir Gabriel. I know I did it. I did.
Well, what story do you want to hear of mine?
Well, you have so many, actually. You have a lot of good stories, but I think there was one that you told me one time about when you used to do a cleaning job.
Yeah.
I think maybe we start there.
Okay. It's a good one. All right.
That's a good one.
Okay. Well, I used to work in a little bar off the highway. It wasn't anything fancy. Just a place where people gather after work. The kind of place where you could smell the beer from the sidewalk. But that bar, it never felt right to me. Not ever. From the moment I started there, I had these dreams. Just bad ones, nightmares, heavy ones. I'd wake up sweating, my heart was racing, and somehow I already knew what they meant. I didn't want to go in. There's days that I was just like, oh man, I don't want to go. But with my job, I had to go, right?
Right.
I didn't want to go in. I lie in bed dreading it, actually. feeling something waiting for me there. Something I couldn't name. Every time I unlocked that door and stepped inside, the music would be playing. You couldn't hear it from the outside though, but it was loud. Sometimes blues, sometimes 70s rock, but always playing. Like the place had a memory and knew how to greet me. It wasn't every day, but sometimes. Um, I'd start my shift, usually alone because I was the cleaner, you know. I'd get there about, man, I would say it was about there around 3:30, 4 o'clock. It was in Minnesota, so bars would close around 2 o'clock. People would drift about 2:30. Um, when people would leave, and I'd get there about 3:30. It was good money, you know. What do you do? I'd start mopping the floor, pulling all the stools away from the bar to clean properly, of course, because you know I'm good at my job. I'm diligent. Just part of my routine. Then I'd turn around, and all the stools were back. Not every time, but there was quite a few. Perfectly placed. Just like I hadn't touched them at all. I'd stand there frozen, right? I mean, you know, my bar stools just moved on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I'd stand there with the mop in hand, trying to tell myself it was stress or exhaustion. It was, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. But that place never let me believe that I was there alone for very long. It always had a way of letting me know that um, it was there. Something was always watching me. One night, while I was cleaning, I saw prints appear on the floor, like cat prints. I just got them mopping the floor, and I was looking around, and you know, you look back, and you're like, hey, did I do a good job? What I miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd sit there and look back, and I saw these cat prints. They were fresh prints, like something had walked through after I just mopped it. I followed them, and I saw a cat, and at least I thought I did. Um, the cat stared at me like it knew me, but its face was off a little bit. Um, the mouth could the mouth curled back like it was trying to smile. You ever seen a cat just kind of smile, but it would curl kind of like on both sides. It was the weirdest thing you ever seen. But it wasn't in a friendly way. It wasn't. It was unnatural, I would say. Then it turned and walked through the darn wall, just like that. It was gone. And I remember looking at the footprints, and I could see them kind of walking on the bar, and then they were just gone. Right? I mean, they were just gone, and the wall was just But it was 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So I just assumed I was tired. You know.
Yeah.
Another time at this same bar, um, I was by the pool table as wiping things down, and I found a quarter on the ground. I picked it up and said, kind of jokingly, I could have used a bunch of these yesterday. Yesterday I was with the family at the Mall of America. And you know those great big huge gumball machine things?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my son wanted a gumball, and I didn't have a quarter, right? So I'm like, I kind of wanted one too. So I tossed it on the table, and I just kept on cleaning. And then a few seconds later, clang, 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 clang. Like you're at a casino, and quarters were just dropping,
That's wild.
one after another. The coin machine just started spilling out quarters like I hit a jackpot. Hundreds of them. I stood there stunned, watching this pile of money grow on the floor. Well, of course, man, I collected them all. I'm on camera. I wasn't going to put them in my pockets and get fired, right? I knew it wasn't a malfunction. You could just, to me, when I have these experiences, and maybe you've had the same, Raven, that when something's happening, it feels off to you. You just know that there's something wrong.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, there's this feeling where your gut tells you something's going on here. It's not right. You know.
It's your your intuition is kicking in.
It is.
Yeah.
So the coin machine just went wild. You know. But inside, I kind of knew. I just knew it wasn't a malfunction. I just knew something was interfering with mechanisms of this machine. It was just peeling out quarters. And then at the bar, they're that I cleaned. They painted this big huge mural when you first walk in. It was in the back of it, and it had had the bar scene itself, and then they had like people drinking and hanging out, just fun things, you know. And I remember as I would clean, you know, I mean, I have all these people, I've had all these strange experiences. I dreaded coming to work.
Mm.
I'd sit there and have dreams, and I'd wake up and I'd look at the clock, and I'm like, man, I got an hour to go if we have to go, you know. And I always dreaded that drive. It's like it would be pulling me, you know. I felt it as I got closer, and you know, I could just. It was a really weird experience unless you're actually experiencing something like that. It's really hard to explain, but it was like pulling me there. And I remember getting to the door, and you know, I'd stop for a few seconds. I had to unlock the door, and then I'd walk about, gosh, I'd say about take me about a minute to scurry off into this hallway where they had the ice machine. You had to put the code in, you know.
Yeah.
It was dark. Music was you couldn't hear any music on the outside, but as soon as I opened that door, I could literally hear it go on, right? And it would startle me, but you know the money was too good. I had to go. So I'd walk to the alarm. I'd push my code in, you know, and I'd sit there with the speakers and I'd try to quiet everything down. I'd turn the knobs, make the volume go down, um, and then I would shut it off and I'd start cleaning, right? But as soon as you get into the bar, they painted this great big huge mural of all these people that are drinking, and they made it look like a fun time, right? And every now and then, I'd be cleaning things up, and I'd look up, you know, and just slightly see an arm move or an expression change in the face, you know. Um, Nothing ever really dangerous happened to me. It always let me know that I was always being watched. You know, I never ever felt comfortable. I'd be there for like 3 hours, so you know I'd get about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and even the sun would come in, and things were during the light outside. I never felt comfortable in that place ever. Um, but this mural, you know, I mean, it would change, and then the cat story, where I saw the cat prints on the floor, and then moving all the bar stools and move back. Um, and then just the feeling that I was always watched, and that always it's it always kind of attracted me to the paranormal because what was this? You know, was it that it was early in the morning? Was it the witching hours? You know, um, and I'd sit there and I'd try to rationalize it. I'd sit there and think, you know, what is it that I'm experiencing? Um, and I remember, I keep on thinking, me and you should really go there and do an investigation. I should really
You
contact
should.
you. Hey, listen, um, I'd like to just kind of hang out in your place after hours, just listen to it. You know, we won't drink any of your alcohol. You know, I just want to be there, right? So
I
that's
think we
just
should
one
do that.
story that I have that brought me into the curiosity that I think it takes to be an investigator for um, a a podcast like Dark Woods Paranormal. What about you? What was your first experience that you remember that kind of drawed you to this?
Well, I was going to say, actually, it's funny because we've talked about this before, and the fact that you just had those kinds of experiences, where I was the type of person who sought them out.
Right.
So like you, like when you were a kid, you've had, and that wasn't your first experience, but
No, no,
you've had a
you're
lot of
talking about
different.
the girl in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
So recently
Yeah,
we were just at UFO days,
we were Elmwood UFO days.
and
Yeah,
it's a
where was
wonderful,
there?
you know, I mean, it was a wonderful place. I thought it was fun. And I shared the story about when I was a child. Um, I would have a old lady that would come from the closet and sit on the seat of my bed. And it would take a while. It didn't all happen at first, you know, but little things, the door would creak and I'd see a hand, you know, and, you know, I was scared. I'd throw the covers over my head, you know, and I was on the second floor, so, you know, I always felt a little isolated. My brothers were on that floor too, but there's a hallway that separated us. You know, it was kind of a large house. Um, and throughout time, this lady would comfort me when it would come and sit on my bed and would kind of just rub my thigh, not in a sexual way. You know, it wasn't a succubus or anything. It wasn't. You laugh, but you know.
I just
Um,
laughed because you brought up succubus.
well, succubus, yes. Um,
Yeah.
and then, in my adulthood, I was looking through a old memories, an old book that my mom had, with all these old pictures, and I saw this woman. I'm like, Mom, that's her. That's the lady that used to come from my closet because I told my mom about it. And she thought, oh, you're just having dreams.
Mhm.
And this woman had very distracting figures. She had really long gray hair that go all the way down to her butt. She had these piercing eyes, very very thin. And I said, no, no, that's the lady with the long gray hair would come from my closet into my bed and sit there and kind of comfort me as a child so I would sleep. And she goes, that's my grandma. So, I mean, this woman, I've never met this woman. But yet, I think it was either bloodline um, or and then I found out that that house was actually her original house. She lived there before my grandparents and before we did. So it was a
Yeah.
generational house that had us there, and I even think back about that, and and I try to look at it through the eyes of a child, trying to rationalize it here as an adult, trying to look back and try to figure out exactly what it was I was seeing. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, that was my beginning.
You had, I mean, but that's the thing, like you had things just happening to you from the beginning. Now I told the story as well in Elmwood, but I actually I was the person that like sought it out. I went and tried to look for it. Now, I mean, you know this, but I come from a small town. There was nothing else to do. Actually, and in this town, before you've even seen this town, there was a less to do here than there is now. Like, even then, the cool thing to do was go to the mall, or we were going to go to Caryville. And Caryville around here is like this, I don't know, it's like the rumored haunted location. So everybody went to Caryville to
You're
find,
talking about the schoolhouse in the church, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
I
the graveyard.
The graveyard. That's right. We went to the graveyard. That's right.
We did, which we didn't bring up in the speech in Elmwood, but I looked for that graveyard for like 25 years. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Maybe I wasn't probably, but I looked and looked and looked for that graveyard. I went there one time when I was a kid because we were following people. Actually, I didn't include this either, but we were following another group of teenagers who took us to the graveyard, which was out in the middle of nowhere, kind of down a dirt road. Like that's how I remembered it. It was dark, like so I had no idea where it was. And their plan was to take us out there and ditch us there. That was the plan. So they were actually trying to just like, I don't want to say catfish us, but like take us out there and just leave us out there. Um, but we didn't get lost. We found our way back, obviously. But I had looked for that graveyard ever since, and I never found it until I met you, which is really funny. You knew exactly where to go,
Yeah, I drove right up on
and you
that.
had never even been there, which
Right.
was wild. But
Like I said, well,
you,
that wasn't that hard.
it probably wasn't. But I'm directionally challenged.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, so when we were kids, though, that was the only place to go. Like that was the cool thing to do. Like let's go to the haunted cemetery or Mary Dean, which I didn't bring up. Mary Dean is really close to Caryville, and that was where there's a boat landing, and apparently you can see the Hounds of Hell there. The island also off of that boat landing is supposed to be haunted, but we never did see the Hounds of Hell or anything. Um, anyway, there was one night though. I was probably like 16. I had my younger cousin with me. We were driving through Caryville and we were down a very dark, desolate road. It was a dirt road. There was nowhere else to go. It's a very narrow road. It's not like you can just like pass us, or whatever. But we were driving down this dark road, trying to find this cemetery, actually. And there was a truck that just appeared out of nowhere, literally on my ass. Like it was on my tail for sure. And
Can we say
I don't know.
ass? Is that okay?
I don't know. That's why I changed it to tail. So I didn't know what to
Yeah, but
do.
you said
I'm not
ass
like
first.
16.
That's right.
What was that?
You said ass first. I'm just saying.
I did. But I didn't know what to do. It's like you're being followed and somebody is like literally on you. And I'm a young kid. I don't know how to deal with this situation. So I sped up. The truck behind me sped up, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like in a panic mode, like, oh no, like I don't want to be, you know, irritating anybody, but I don't know where I am, and I'm stuck on a dark road, and so I end up turning off that dark road. So I take the first when we first get to wherever we were going, take that road, um, because there's only one way to go, and that truck follows me, and so I'm like, I need to just pull over at this point. I need to get to the side of the road and like get out of the way of this truck, and I literally pull over, and I look in my rearview mirror, and there's nobody there. There's no headlights, there's no taillights, like I can't see a truck at all. The truck hadn't turned around. Like I feel like if they would have turned around, and I know they followed me off that road. They were behind me when I pulled over, and then they were just gone. And Caryville is also very much known for its phantom cars. So yeah, I was like 16 or so when that happened, but I mean that was like something that I went searching for. I couldn't necessarily say it was like completely paranormal, but at the same time, it's just a very weird instance. I didn't have my first paranormal experience until later in life, maybe. Like one that I could say for sure to me was a paranormal experience, but I've always been a searcher. I've always been somebody who's looked for these things and tried to find them. And I've always been very curious. Somebody who is obsessed with unsolved mysteries and X-Files. And so,
Well, I'm just the opposite.
yeah, you are.
I never I never went seeking this stuff. This stuff always kind of seek me, you know. Um,
Which is interesting. It makes us a very interesting dynamic, though, doesn't it? Like, it comes to you, and I'm the person who seeks it out. Like, you are like, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I'm like, come on in. Not really come on in. Don't do that. But, like, you know,
yeah, don't, no, no, don't
no,
come
no,
in yet.
don't do that. But, like, make yourself known. Sure. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, I know that you have other stories too.
I do. I
You
had
have a
the
lot of stories.
I have a lot of stories. Yeah, I had the pleasure of living on a houseboat for for several years, and one of the houseboats we lived on, it had a body count, which we didn't know when we purchased the boat. It was just a boat. It was to us. It was just a fun experience, and it was a cheap experience, right? We didn't pay that much for the boat, and I remember looking at this boat on dry land. It was dry dock. And I remember walking around this boat, and we were inside. And, it felt comfortable, but there was just something off about it. It had two bedrooms. It was a 50-foot boat, or around about there. Teak was in bad condition, that kind of thing. So, it was within our price range back in the time of my wife and I, and our small child. So we decided to buy it and live on it. It was actually in Invergrove Heights, Minnesota. We were year-round liveaboards for almost 8-9 years, and so as we were cleaning this boat, I'll back up. So I was always uncomfortable in some certain areas of this boat. I don't think I ever slept in the bedroom. I always was on the couch or in the forward bunk. Um, I don't know why. My son's bedroom was in the forward bunk, and that's kind of where I'd hung out. He was young, and we had a large dog that slept with him too. I kind of slept on the bunk right next to him. And as we were remodeling this boat, we came across some papers, and it turned out that the husband and wife they had some dogs on there, and um, they they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. He was running his generator, and there was a leak in the exhaust, and they fell asleep, never woke up. But we didn't know that until we were just looking up the owner, and all of a sudden we we saw the make of our boat. Boat's kind of an unusual boat, um, and it
Yeah.
was in South Dakota, and there was the unfortunate incident. So that kind of explained some of the interesting experiences I had on the boat. Um, the engine room, I spent a lot of time in there. I was just trying to, make everything work. Try to fix things as I could. And I remember oftentimes there's two doors, one that kind of went out to the bow and one to the stern, where the bedroom was. And I remember seeing the door would just open every now and then. I'd be down there working. Usually, when I was alone or something like that, my family would be off visiting relatives or something like that, and I would kind of stay behind to kind of upgrade some of the systems, whether it be water system or some electrical element or whatever it was. And I remember being there alone, and just feeling like I just wasn't alone there. You know, doors would open, um, spontaneously, lights would come on, stuff like that. And but I think whatever spirit was there liked us because the boat was in disrepair when we bought it, and we made it look pretty nice. You know, so there was the last incident on the boat. I was we we decided to move on the land. We bought a little hobby farm, and I went back to check in the boat. We're in the process of selling it. It was in the middle of winter, and I went back to go look at it. And I had a cold. I couldn't smell anything, and I really wasn't feeling good. I just didn't want to be there. And I remember I went on the boat just to make sure everything's good in the systems because in the middle of winter a lot of bad things can happen to a boat. And I remember coming aboard and I was going down in the engine room because we had no electricity. Nothing would turn on. Most of our boat ran off of the battery bank. That's just kind of how we had it set up. The furnace wasn't on. The boat was just really, really super cold, dead of winter, Minnesota of winter. So I remember going down into the engine compartment, and there was a splash like water, right? I mean, that's just how it kind of was. Boats do get water, you know. Um, so I was sitting there trying to figure out what was going on. The battery said that they had power, and I had cables that I was kind of clicking together to see if there's power, and it would spark. Stupid thing to do. No, don't ever do that. And then I would, I couldn't see anything, so I was trying to light a match, and I didn't have my phone on me, and all kinds of weird stuff. And every time I tried to light a match to kind of light a candle so I can see what's going on, um, the something would blow it off. I feel this puff of wet air into my face, and then I went to go grab something else, and I went to try to do it again, and this dark figure kind of just rushed at me, um, and I had the sensation of don't, you know, and I was scared. I mean, the boat's dark. It was, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't midnight or anything, but when it's winter and dead of winter, night comes about 8 o'clock at night, right? So it was pretty dark. So I said, well, I had enough of that, So I went aboard, crawled out of the boat, and went back home. A week later, I was feeling a little bit better, and I remember going down back to the boat, kind of check it out. And as soon as I got into the boat, you could smell gas. So what happened was I just had my boat winterized, my engines winterized from the marina, and for some reason there was a leaky gas line that was just slowly dripping gas, and I mean I could barely breathe in there. I mean my eyes were all, you know, itchy because of the gas smell, and whatever was there saved my life, and whoever was in the boats next to me, like trying to light a candle, would have just exploded. But whatever was there, not every encounter I think is negative. There's encounters that are positive as well.
I think that's a really good point that you just made. And I think that when it comes to a lot of your experiences, that's actually very true. Like, a lot of the time people come to think about spirits or ghosts or whatever you want to say as being like malevolent, except for the fact that it doesn't mean, just because you can't see it does not mean that it's malevolent, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing that it's there. We have to remember that these are people, or were people, and it doesn't mean that they are, oh, spooky, scary whatever, right? So for me, like when you tell that story, and when you tell the story about the woman coming out of your closet, those are all like protective. I
Oh,
feel like
absolutely. Absolutely.
the maybe the person, aka your great grandma, coming out of the closet was also the person protecting you from what could have happened on that boat, you know?
Very possible.
I definitely think that you have a guardian angel of some sort, Gabriel. Just saying.
I appreciate that.
No,
Yeah,
I do.
I
Do.
do definitely think that, I think everybody has that element. And a lot of the stories we tell um, in, in our podcast um, kind of revolve around close encounters, and then just at the, you know, the brink of disaster, something happens, and they survive. At least in the stories that I tell, that's kind of the research that I put in. Is I seem to kind of like the stories that just before disaster strikes, you're you're pulled away just in the last minute.
Sure. No, that's great. I don't I don't really have any stories like that. Um, I will say I do want to tell this story of my very first, like where I knew for sure it was something paranormal. Though I do want to tell that story if that's okay.
Please
So
do.
I was actually working on college radio. So I pretty much lived at our college radio station. I had multiple shows up there. I had shows in the daytime. I had actually a talk show where I interviewed local bands, which is one of my favorite things I've ever done. Um, so I also just did like a late night Friday show. It was just something I just loved it up there. So I pretty much lived at the radio station. But I went to school for journalism, so part of the thing was not just doing the DJ work, but also doing the work of like writing news stuff because we also had to do like the local news at 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever time it was. So we had to do that too. So to describe what the radio station looked like, there was a news studio and then there was an actual like a studio, like a DJ studio. And there was a great big window in between. So the person, if there was somebody working in the news studio, they could see the person working in the studio who was playing music. And there was one night I was up there and I'm working on something in the news studio and there was a kid up there DJing and we're both doing our own thing. You know, I can see him out of the corner of my eye, he can see me kind of thing. And then also there both of the studios have doors and then there's also a hallway and the hallway kind of does a little turn and then at the end of the hallway, so you go to the end of the hallway, you turn and then there's a door and that door is always locked. Unless you're a professor. So if you're a professor, you have a key and you can get through because that's where their offices were. But it was later at night, not like late, but it was, you know, later than a professor would be there or whatever, but we'll get back to that. So I'm doing my thing and he's doing his thing, and all of a sudden, corner of my eye, somebody walks by the door. And I see it, he sees it, but like as soon as somebody walks by those doors, the lights flicker in both the studio, the news studio and the DJ studio. And we both like look at each other, kind of like, what was that? You know, we both saw something. And honestly, if somebody was walking by, there was nowhere to go except for that locked door. There's nowhere to go. So I get up and I go into the other room and open the door, and we both at the same time are basically like, "Did you see that?" Because we didn't know what it was. It was like just like a flash. Somebody walked by and then they were gone. You know, there was nowhere to go, and there weren't any professors. There was nobody else in that building besides us. So it was wild, but then that wasn't the only thing. Like after that, it was the mics would turn on and off, and there would be like where you have to push a button to turn the mics on and off.
Can
The
you
mics would
do
turn.
that button pushing one more time?
Push the button.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
You're
Push the
welcome.
button. Yes.
Push the
That's great.
button.
Yes.
You had to push it like this.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't a click knob. It
No.
was a push button.
There's a push
Okay.
button. Yeah.
It was a push button.
Yep.
You could hear keys jingling. Like I would be up there. I'd be the last person up there at midnight. You know, the security people had already gone through. There was nobody in that building except for me. You'd hear keys jingling, you'd hear footsteps. Sometimes I'd have guests up there and I would tell them, I'd warn them, if you go to the bathroom, if the ghost, now I hate to say it like that, but we did name the ghost. It was Pure Radio 88.7 was the radio station I worked at, and we named the ghost Purio, the Pure Radio ghost. I said, if Purio doesn't like you, they will lock the door when you leave. And it would happen. It would just sporadically lock by itself. Like, and when you were talking earlier about that feeling of being watched,
Yep.
that is a true thing.
So you're talking about, so since you already said the radio station, can you tell them what building it's in?
Yes, it was in North Hall. I went to school at MUU, aka River Falls. And it was the third
studio,
floor.
you can say the name of that building.
Yeah, it was North Hall.
Or don't you want to?
No, I just did. North Hall was the name.
I think it was a Danbury place.
Oh, no. No, I did work at the Banbury place, but that was not college. That was before I went to River Falls, was Banbury Place. But Banbury Place had its own creepy elements to it.
That's a building I want to go in. That's a...
Banbury does just have that feeling.
When we walked through that building, it was a little darker, and we were standing outside, and one of the old sides of the buildings that wasn't being used, we saw that light. Remember
Yes.
that light?
Yes.
And I was staring at that. I'm like, hey, that's a light. And you're like, no, that's a reflection. And I said, reflecting off of what? There's nothing there for it to reflect. But there was a light and it would move.
So that's the thing we should also tell people. I mean, we do try to debunk it. Like, we're not sitting here and saying that everything's haunted, you know? Like, we question whether or not, okay, could it be this? Could it be that, right? But there are certain things that you're like, but there's no explanation for this. You know, when I think about the radio station, for example, like, okay, could the security guard been maybe coming through and that's the footsteps I've heard? Maybe. But also, you and I have been in so many haunted locations where we know you get that feeling that something is watching you. You get that feeling that you're not quite alone.
Yeah,
right?
with the radio station, right? Just to play devil's advocate here. With a radio station, you have all the energy there. You know, you have a lot of electricity.
Sure.
A lot of open circuits. You know, was it just in the radio station, or was it kind of like the whole area? Was it by water?
There is water there. I'm trying to think if North Hall was really by. No, but I will tell you something I haven't told you yet.
What's that?
Or maybe I don't know if I've told you this part of the story. So, 2 weeks before any of this stuff started happening. Now, I was at that radio station for a little bit before things started getting weird, right? It wasn't like it was always.
You worked in the afternoons?
I worked all the time. I lived at that radio station. Like, I had 3 or 4 shows, different shows a week. I had a music show, I had a talk show, then I had another music show. So I had like a Friday afternoon. No, I had multiple shows because why wouldn't I? That's what I did with my spare time, is I hung out at the radio station. Things weren't like that, and then suddenly they were.
So
but I'll tell you.
Sporadic.
No. I'm not saying it was sporadic. I'm saying that all of a sudden stuff started happening, right? It was suddenly stuff started happening. Now, I was up there before, it didn't feel like that. Nothing was weird happening. And then all of a sudden weird stuff started happening when we were up there. Now, about 2 weeks or so before all this stuff started happening, our dean of students, whose office was on the first floor of North Hall, the radio station was on the 3rd floor of North Hall. She was on her way to work one day, and she got into a car accident.
Huh?
And she died.
I'm sorry to hear that, of course.
She passed away. Yeah, she was, I mean, I didn't know her personally, but, you know, she seemed like a wonderful person. My thought was, and I didn't realize this until afterwards, like, we didn't put this stuff together. And I wasn't the only one or the only person having experiences. in this building. Other people were reporting having different experiences. Um, the thought is that she possibly was on her way to work and then she continued to go to work that day, and she is still maybe in North Hall. I don't actually know. I would love to actually reach out to the people who, or maybe some of the students that are up there now, because that radio station is still functioning. But
Huh.
it would be good to know whether or not they have those kinds of experiences up there still or not. But there was, there was that she was on her way to work that day and passed away. She really did care about the college, so.
Well, I mean, we've been in places that places like media and art. Um, uh, like at the UFO days, we were in an auditorium, and
Yeah, yeah.
you could feel energy in the auditorium. So I think things that have to do with art, that includes media. There's a lot of energy you put in it that's yours, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
you're framing it for you, and you are the one that makes the craft, right? So um, I think in places like that, I do think that the energy that people put out are absorbed in the walls, just like the Danbury place when we go there, right? There there's a theoretic atmosphere out there, I think, with all the tragedy and you know,
I was gonna say.
but like back then, your job was your life. You know, with when it was Uniroll and all that. We remember hearing stories about people hanging themselves from rafters after Uniroll left. There was the
Mhm.
only place in employment. There wasn't a lot of job opportunities. So I definitely see, and we both felt places that have those elements that definitely seem to linger some kind of a spirit, or maybe spirits are just drawn to that kind of energy. Um, I know later on this month we are going to the UP to investigate a lighthouse.
In
Um,
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks,
Less than
yep,
2 weeks now,
I'm
yeah.
actually looking
I'm
forward to
super
that.
excited.
I'm a big lighthouse guy, right?
Me too.
You're a lighthouse guy.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. So
I was gonna no, I'm a water person. Maybe not, I'm not a guy. All right.
okay, I thought maybe you're coming out, but that's fine. It's great.
No,
Sure.
I am not.
There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but I'm a big lighthouse guy because it's by water. It's usually by rocks and all the elements that seem to attract energies. So I'm actually looking forward to this lighthouse. To that for we get the pleasure of being in there. Do you mind mentioning the paranormal group we'll be with? Oh,
It's
snap!
Uper. Oh, no,
Oh, there
it's
we
Uper
go. Okay,
Paranormal. Thank you.
Upers Paranormal. Okay.
Uper Paranormal.
I remember meeting him once at a con. Um,
Yeah, we actually met them at the Appleton CapCon,
yeah,
which Barnaby Jones was I I want to say the host of. He pretty much put together that con,
yeah.
and we were there. And Uber Paranormal came through and started talking to us, and they offered us a chance to work with them. And of course, we scooped that up because, I mean, both of us, you and I, are both very much water people. And we would love to just, I mean,
I lived
honestly,
on a houseboat. I'm most certainly a water person. I love that.
I
Um,
go to the ocean every chance I can.
right.
So,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, talking as somebody that has a lifelong experience with the paranormal, the the best I've ever slept was on a boat because the flowing of the water. I was on the Mississippi, and the flowing of the water I think interrupts whatever energies around, and it just relaxed me. Um, I've always loved the water, the splashing, the rocks, the energy, but especially a lighthouse. I mean, the lighthouse at its core is a beacon of safety. You know,
Mm.
I have a theory that all souls lost at sea go to the light, right? Because that was the beacon of safety. I remember watching Ghost Hunters. They were in a lighthouse once, and you could see the figure kind of looking over the banister. Do you remember that episode?
I do.
Yes.
Wasn't that the one that Dustin said was the most active?
Yep. And
I want to say that is. Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to that. I don't necessarily think that they're negative energies um, when it's associated with the lighthouse and waters and stuff like that. I do think that, but they are energies, right? I mean, it's got to be a confusing state. You know, you're not alive, you're not dead. What are you? You know, and
Yeah.
that's kind of my mind frame that I'm going into with the inquiring of what is it? Why are you here? You know, when you're a sailor, a seaman, you know, you look for those safety elements, and the lighthouse is definitely one. So I'm expecting a very, very, very good outcome. If anything, it's just the beautiful scenery, you know,
Oh, for
I think it's
sure.
definitely worth it. So speaking of cons where we meet people, I'd like to take a second and, you know, definitely um, reach out to our friends Chumming with the Spirits if anybody has a chance to listen to them. They're good friends of ours. We met them at a con.
Oh,
And this 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 fall we'll be going to a lot of cons, including into the winter months. So if you ever get a chance to, and we'll have it posted on our website, darkwoods.paranormal.com. Uh, and we do cons all over the place. So we love to meet the audience if they listen to us. I think today being our first episode, we have maybe zero point 0.5 people, and that's because they fell asleep. You know, so you know, yeah. So you know, but it's fine. So we'll be doing these Sundays and Thursdays about 7 o'clock. We are definitely hoping that we can build an audience, and we if you want to leave a comment, we love answering questions if we can. We love talking about all things paranormal. UFO days, we're alien people, cryptozoology, myths, legend, and I'm a big government conspiracy theory, the fake sun, leprechauns, which is one of my favorite episodes. I just love the music and the intro, you know. Fairies, Bigfoot. I hope you get a chance to do some Bigfoot hunting here soon. I think that'd be fun. I
I
know
would
that
love
there are some
that.
sites up in the UP
I would love
with the
that.
huge wilderness up there, so maybe we can take a few minutes and maybe one evening. Well, we're up there for what, 3 days or 2 days?
Technically 3.
3 days, okay. So hopefully, we can maybe take a couple 4 hours out and maybe do some a Bigfoot research.
Oh my gosh, I would love that so
There'd be
much.
nothing
I would
cooler than
love
take a
that.
picture with a
Yeah.
Sasquatch. You know what I mean?
I would love that.
I'd give him my hat and glasses, put it on him, say, "Hey, just stay there for a second." You know, snap a picture, put him on, and I'm like, "Hell, I'm okay with that."
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like you should do that.
I
Yeah, if you ever
would.
meet
I
a
mean,
Bigfoot, just
if
give
there's
him
a
your glass.
Sasquatch listening,
I love
come
that
on
for you.
over, man. I give you my hat, my glasses. We take pictures, you know. No, we'll do belly rubs. It's great. We'll do that. No problems.
Belly rubs with Bigfoot.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I love this idea.
Yeah,
I love that.
right.
Who's a Bigfoot? Oh, who's a Bigfoot?
No, no.
I'll give you $20 if you do that.
I will. I will ask for more than $20 to rub, you know, Bigfoot's tummy. But
I
belly.
feel
I
like
mean,
you get
maybe.
like
I
$1
mean, I don't
million.
know.
You
I
would
mean,
get $1
maybe.
million just
You
finding
know,
him.
he is the mascot for Jackie Lynx. So, you know, maybe we can share some beef jerky. It's true. I've seen the commercial. Don't not
I've
get
seen the
started.
commercial.
What?
Maybe you should bring some Jack Links with you.
Oh, sure. That's right up the road from me. Minot, I think, is the is Jackie
Either,
Lynx area, isn't
either
it?
you get a Bigfoot or a bear.
Yes.
What?
Either or. I think we'll eat the beef jerky. It'll be fine. You know.
Would you rather meet a
What's that?
Bigfoot or a bear? That's the question.
Yes. Bigfoot's are bear.
I
Bigfoot.
think I'd rather meet a Bigfoot than a bear.
Because
I don't want to
I
meet a bear.
think Bigfoot has more of a star quality to him. You know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
we could
does.
say, hey, can I just have a swatch of your hair? Just give me a haircut.
Like,
You
that's
know,
all I need. The
But
bear's
what I
not
like to
going to
do
do
is
that.
because I can do the handlebars, right? So what I want to do is find a Bigfoot that is calm enough as he's eating his Jackie Lynx. No, listen. No, stay with me. We
No,
can
I
do
won't.
the yeah. We
I'm
can do the
in.
handlebar. Yeah. You know.
I'll film this. I'll just be over in
Yes.
the corner filming.
Yes. And like, listen. Then we have to convince them that hey, it looks good, right? Unless it's a female Bigfoot, then
Good
they don't want
luck.
to talk about their beard. Then it's like, hey,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, you want to insult the female Bigfoot.
No, no. I'm kind of a hairy guy myself, so you know, it may take me.
No, I'm not.
I would go though. I'd go willingly. Yeah. Bigfoot camp? Absolutely.
I want to go to Bigfoot camp. How do we get in?
I don't know, but I hope they have Wi-Fi because I'm a big TV guy. No, listen, stay with me. So I
Something
mean,
tells
they
me
have
they
to
don't
have.
have Wi-Fi.
Well, you don't think they have Wi-Fi?
No, not a Bigfoot camp.
Oh, well, then I
Maybe
guess I'm
their
not going.
Wi-Fi, like maybe the way they communicate is they're tree knocking. I don't think that they have
We
internet
could we
or
could
like.
bring them and show them smoke signals, but they live in the forest, so there's a forest fire. There's a safety, like kind of a liability problem.
Haven't you seen Planet of the Apes? This seems like a
I
terrible
love
idea.
Planet of the Apes. Are you kidding me? That's one of my
We
favorite movies.
shouldn't we shouldn't be like teaching Bigfoot how to
Oh, that's true. They take
civilize.
over. We're in cages. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
And he's
removing our
bigger than
minds.
us, so
They're
yeah.
lobotomizing us so we don't speak back. I love that. I mean, that's what they're doing, right? That's what they're doing is lobotomizing.
I mean, probably. I want nothing to do with that.
Me neither.
I'm already worried enough about aliens, okay?
Well, aliens, artificial intelligence, I got that stuff licked. They're my friends. I'll be here.
Yeah, you're probably fine. I don't want to deal with that.
I will be their pet, and I'm fine with that. You know? No, it's
That's
true.
actually true. He tells me all the
They'll have
time.
me like changing trash and cleaning bathrooms and stuff. It's fine.
That's
Cool.
why you made friends with them. I get it.
Yes, you
I
have
understand.
to.
I understand. That's why I'm
You
friends
have
with you
to.
because you're friends with them. So I feel like by default I might be safe.
Oh, not at all. I make sure that I let artificial intelligence know and aliens that we're not associated.
No, yeah, that's exactly what you do. You throw me under
Yeah,
the bus immediately
absolutely.
as soon as you
Well,
could.
because their aircrafts are higher, so I need something to step up on. So I kind of use you as no, that's not negative. I mean, everybody has a purpose.
Oh, great. I can
Yeah.
just be a little stool. Love that for me.
I think you're giving more credit to stools, but that's fine. I mean, yeah, we can go there.
I've been training my whole life to be a stool.
Oh, great.
How dare you knock my stoolness?
No, I'm sure you work great as a stool. I mean, I've never seen you as a stool, but I think
I'm very sturdy.
you're
I'm
short.
a very
You are
sturdy.
short. You're
Yeah,
short. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're like a perfect step, kinda.
I am. I'm sturdy. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
I
It's
like it.
great.
I like
It's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't know where. I don't know how we got here.
We're in Bigfoot camp and then aliens and having to do because when they land they can't go all the way to the ground, right? I mean they just
I gotta tell
wash it.
you,
They don't
I
get
was
dirty. Get splashes dirt up on them. They're all shiny
terrified
and
of
clean.
aliens.
What?
I was terrified of aliens when I was a kid. Terrified.
Why?
Because I didn't want to be probed.
Okay, we're not gonna go there.
But I didn't want to be probed. I thought, okay, so actually, I was at my grandma's house one day when I was a kid, little kid, like younger than my daughter, and they were flipping through the channels, and they found a show. It was about aliens, and it was about alien abductions. And
Okay.
they're like, "Yeah, this is a great show to watch. Let's just leave this on." As I'm a little kid. And the whole story was about somebody who got abducted by aliens and they got brought into a cold room, like the whole abduction story, which is like you're brought into a cold room and it's like everything's metal and it's terrible and they probe you and then there's like bright lights and there's these gray creatures with big eyes and it's like this whole thing. And I was terrified. I was terrified. I left my grandma's house that day never the same again because I was so scared I was going to get abducted by aliens. And my parents even had like that, I don't even know the name of the book. I want to say it was the one Encounters with the Third Kind or whatever. Before it was a book that wasn't a movie, or before it was a
So,
movie.
Encounters of the Third Kind, isn't that when they're in Alaska and people were perceiving
The
seeing aliens
owl
with their
story,
owls?
right?
Yeah. See, that's the same thing with the cat in the bar that I've experienced. I think.
Why don't you touch on that then?
What's that?
Why don't you go into what that is and like
Oh, okay.
your
Well,
theory?
I have a theory that um, when the mind is scared, it tries to come up with things that are comforting, right? So, you know, in the bar, did I really see a cat sitting there and just disappeared in the wall? I recognized the face wasn't the same it was. Um, I I have a theory that that when the mind is scared, it comes up with the objects that comfort you, like the old lady coming from the closet. It could have been a guardian angel, but for some reason, my subconscious chose to have an old lady with long gray hair. Maybe it was an angel, knowing that, in the future, I would discover this lady was actually related to me. So maybe, that was a comforting sign. So just like in Encounters of the Third Kind, or I think Encounters of the Fourth Kind, wasn't it? Was it Third Kind or Fourth Kind?
I never watched any of the
Oh,
movies. I
oh,
was so
you need
scared
to
of
watch it.
aliens.
You need to watch it. But so everybody was seeing owls, and then at the end of the movie, the owls actually ended up being the heads of aliens. They get the typical color, the grays, or dark gray,
Oh, yeah.
greenish. And I think when the mind is scared, it tries to pick up something that's comforting, to kind of comfort the individual. So I'm always interested when someone sees something and they say, it was my dad came to me or something like that. I often wonder if maybe it's the mind that takes that element and tries to control the emotion that's happening at the time and make it to something more comforting. What the hell was that look? Did you just seize
No,
up? You're like, oh,
I did.
what's
I
going
did. I
on with
needed
you?
medical assistance. No, I do believe that could be a thing, right? Like our mind, the brain is this crazy thing, right? Like it's able to do that.
That's all you have? Oh, thank you. No, that's fantastic. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no. So we're doing the lighthouse. We'll try to do a couple TikToks live from that. Did I call TikToks or did I say Tic Tacs? What did I say?
You said TikToks.
Okay, so I did it right.
TikTok.
I must be craving TikToks, Tic Tacs. But
TikToks are you craving?
I am craving those. So I'm looking forward to the lighthouse, and Michigan's gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to that element as well. And what else are we doing, Ray?
Oh, well, I love that you mentioned our good friends Chumming with the Spirits.
Yeah, good.
By the way,
Yeah,
I should
they
I
like
should
you,
point
so their quality of people aren't very good. But what is what?
they are amazing people that we made friends with back in February
Right.
of this year. Although it's so funny when we think of that because that feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
It does.
Like February
Absolutely.
kind of feels like forever ago. Like I remember being super excited to go to the Kansas City Paracon, which was in this like crazy casino. The place was amazing
That
in
casino was really
itself.
cool, actually.
It was so cool. And
They had
like
a
so we
train in
walked
there,
in.
and I remember walking in and seeing this train, and then you looking up, and the sky kind of was
Yeah,
painted
it
with
was so
clouds,
cool.
and they had like a little town inside. I thought, well, that's definitely cool.
It was a cool place.
We had some good barbecue. Was that when we had that
F45. It was
Yeah,
F45
F45.
barbecue.
Good
Oh, so
place. You ever
good.
get a chance?
Oh
F45
my
Kansas City
God.
was wonderful. And if you
That
want to sponsor,
every
please
single
do.
thing that
Yeah,
they brought out was amazing.
it was.
We had really good food. We went to this Paracon. It was the first year they've ever had it there, which actually I didn't know about before we booked it, but
Really? At the
no, I
casino?
didn't know that. I didn't know it was their first year, but we met the most amazing people. That's where we met Steve and we met Dave from Ghost Hunters. We met Dustin Perry, who
Dustin
was
Perry, outstanding individual. I really
the
liked
coolest
everything.
person, and I will die on that hill. He is the coolest person.
Other than
He was,
Gabriel Von Graves, of course.
well, of
Yeah.
course,
No,
you're a
I
given.
don't know. I was
But
hoping you knew. So that's
no,
fine.
no, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's like a given. But Dustin Perry was like the nicest person, I think, just because we all know he's got some horrible travel curse, apparently, because, and I follow him on Facebook, and it still occurs because his flights are delayed all the time. His flight was delayed, his stuff never came in, like, until the next day. I know they told him to leave his room that he was staying in because somebody else was going to come stay there. He was just having the worst day ever, and yet he shows up to this con with nothing but a table because all his stuff, all his merch was sent to a different location altogether, and he was the nicest person.
He was, very
He
gifted
like I,
individual, has a huge vocabulary and experience when it comes to the paranormal. Can
yeah.
recite all kinds of different quotes of the paranormal, and I think he has a gift of seeing things that aren't there. Um, he seems to really enjoy his craft.
He's super he's super humble, and at the same time, like we have a whole episode with him, so you should check it out if you haven't. But like he definitely is just this person that like makes you believe
Oh,
in yourself,
absolutely.
and then also makes you believe more in the paranormal because he just approaches it so differently,
He does.
which
He most certainly
he
does.
doesn't he's not the kind of person that's like, I'm trying to make money off of the paranormal. He's like, I believe this is a thing, and I'm just going to be out here and doing my thing. And I really, really just think he's authentic, and I think he's amazing. Um, that being said, we met some other amazing content creators out there as well, such as Everything Vaguely Paranormal. They were really wonderful people, which I hope we connect with again, which I'm sure we will. But we did meet our amazing friends, chumming with the spirits when we were out there. Our good friend OG, aka Dave. I don't know if he wants his real name out there, but
No, he does not.
oh crap. Well, anyway, OG came over and like introduced himself, and ever since then, like we've basically become friends with them. We went and did the Sally House investigation with them, which we are going to release another episode about. And I cannot wait because we're seeing some interesting things in the footage. But you have to remember, we're only a small team, so it's going to take a minute. But then we also did Elmwood UFO Days just recently with them. They're just the best people. So I definitely say if you haven't listened to them, please listen to them. They're amazing. They are our really good friends.
They
So,
are. So you said something interesting a few minutes ago about curses. Recently, we
oh
had
yeah,
the experience of going to the Sally House with Chumming with the Spirits podcast,
yeah.
and we're now in the middle of shifting through all that recorded
Oh my
information.
gosh, there's so much.
And I can tell you just things that happen and things that go with you. I personally had a hard time sleeping. I'd say a good month after that. I kept on having dreams of, still being in that room upstairs, the room that we did most of the recordings. That we had a lot of the EVPs and um,
Hmm.
REM pods with all the lights going off, just going absolutely crazy. Just like Skippy's Bar and Grill in Barron, Wisconsin, we had the ability to go there and investigate, and we had a really good REM pod session with playing music. It seemed to have a really
Yeah.
good response. But back to the Sally House, I remember, man, having bad dreams up to about a month, even a couple weeks past that, maybe 6 weeks. Having dreams about the Sally House and feeling like I was still trapped in there. Um, so I think when we go out and do these things, it's very important that you go there not too open, right? Um, and you go there understanding that the paranormal, although very interesting, is also very dangerous.
That is a really, really good thing to tell people just because, gosh, you're right. I mean, it is one of these, it's one of these things where it's like, it's super interesting. We're all very invested in like going out and seeing what we can see, and me being somebody who's like, I want to go check it all out and like whatever. But end of the day, that that place was the first place that I've left or even been in that was even like I would say even been in that was, how do I want to, I've been in a lot of haunted, I'm going to do this, haunted locations, sure.
Right?
This was the one that I think really, really, really sat with me and still sits with
Yeah,
me.
it
Still
stuck
sits
with
with me.
me as well. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, we had private conversations about the longevity of being in a place that has portals, and I'd love to go into portals. Maybe next time, next Thursday, we have a conversation about portals and the space, the thinning of the veil, if you would. Some of
Hmm.
the stuff we talked about in Elmwood days.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. It is like a crazy. I don't. I don't know how else to explain it. Like we all left that place feeling different, feeling changed, feeling like, yeah, there's something. And the amount of evidence that we even recognized before we even left that place, and I told several people actually, we when we left, it was like, oh gosh, like
Yeah,
let's brush it off because you could just feel it on you. It was a little crazy. Like you, and I'm still uncovering evidence, which I cannot wait to share with everyone because it is something else. Um, but yeah, that place
I think that's
definitely leaves a mark. Leaves a mark.
it does leave a mark, and I think leaving a mark is a good way to end today's episode. And it is the beginning, if you will, of the descent into dark woods. So we want to thank you for walking through the shadows, for listening, watching, and next time, please share any experiences you have. We'd be happy to talk about it. Um, whether you came here out of curiosity, conviction, or just something different, we're glad you're here with us. This journey into this unexplained is never traveled alone. Um, we'll be back here Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central, right here in Darkwoods Paranormal, and we'd love to have you join us again. If you enjoyed tonight's live, consider sharing it with friends. We'd love to have more content, any stories you'd like to share with us. We'd be happy to discuss it and talk about it. Because the best stories are the ones that are true. So we're always looking for people's feedback, just not our experiences, but
Yeah.
experiences other people have. So until next time, stay aware, stay curious, and most of my friends, do stay safe out there. See you later.